Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Journey Today show. My name is Cory.
And I'm Casey. And today we're talking about...
I'm sorry, Casey. Listen, how are we supposed to film an episode of the Journey Today show if this silly frog won't stop dancing?
I don't know. He's been doing this for hours and it's driving me crazy.
Wait a second. I have an idea that is gonna get rid of this frog once and for all.
Wow. I have to admit, Cory, that was a brilliant idea. I guess if you can't beat him, you just gotta join him.
Yeah, and who would have thought that hanging out with the frog would have been so fun?
Certainly not me.
No, me either. In fact, that gives me another idea.
Okay, what are you doing?
I'm just sending out an invite on hip hop.
What's hip hop?
It's like TikTok, but for frogs.
Oh, wait, Cory, stop. First of all, I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. And second, I don't think hanging out with that many frogs would be as much fun as you think it would.
What? Why not? Like, what could possibly go wrong?
According to our Bible story for today, a lot. Let me explain. In our last episode, we read from the book of Exodus about how God sent Moses to tell the Egyptian Pharaoh to set the Israelites free from being slaves. So that's what Moses did. But it didn't go so well.
Oh, yeah, I know that story. When Moses tells Pharaoh to let God's people go, Pharaoh says, no way.
That's right. But God doesn't really take no for an answer. And in today's Bible story, we'll see how God uses his power to, shall we say, persuade Pharaoh to let his people go. You know what? I think now would be a good time to read the story for ourselves. So let's do this. In just a second, press pause on the video and read the verses on the screen. When you're finished, press play and we'll see you back here.
Okay, in all fairness, I wasn't planning on inviting that many frogs.
Well, that is good to hear. But isn't that amazing? God used his power to unleash these terrible plagues on the Egyptians.
A plague, that's like anything that causes terrible damage and destruction.
Yeah, that's right. God keeps sending these plagues on Egypt to force Pharaoh to let his people go. Cory, do you remember the 2 plagues from the story we just read?
Yeah. First, God turned the water to blood, and then second, he let loose a ton of frogs on Egypt.
That's right. But that wasn't even all of them. In all, God struck Egypt with 10 different plagues. Take a look at some of the other ones. There were lice and gnats.
Then there was a huge number of flies.
Then all of the livestock, like cows and donkeys, died.
Then the people of Egypt were covered in painful boils and sores all over their body.
Then hail destroyed all of the crops.
Then a swarm of locusts ate any food that was left.
Then Egypt was covered in total darkness for 3 days.
Yeah, and then there was one last really terrible plague. But we'll talk about that one in the next episode.
Isn't that amazing? And after each one of those plagues, Pharaoh ultimately refused to let God's people go.
Man, that's crazy. Can you imagine what it would be like to live through those first 9 plagues? Which one do you think would have been the worst?
Oh man, they all would be really terrible, but I think the worst would have been the water turning to blood. I mean, that's just gross.
Ugh.
What do you think would be the worst?
Yeah, I think the worst one would have been 3 days of total darkness.
Really? Why that one?
Think about it. For 3 whole days, you're stumbling around, getting lost, and making a big mess of everything. It would be a disaster. And hey, speaking of disaster, this gives me an idea for a challenge. You're gonna love it.
Usually when someone tells me I'm going to love a challenge, it means I'm really not going to love it. What did you have in mind?
Here's what I'm thinking. We're gonna see how hard it is to put on makeup in total darkness.
Wait. You're going to put on makeup?
Yes, but not on me. I'm gonna put on a blindfold so I can't see. Then I'm gonna put makeup on you.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Let's get this over with.
That's the spirit. All right, I think I'm finished. I can't wait to see how beautiful you look.
Okay. Wow. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. You weren't even close on like any of it.
I'm so sorry, Casey. I really did the best that I could, but it's really hard when you can't see what you're doing. Now, I know this is kind of a silly demonstration of what it was like to live through just one of the first 9 plagues. But the truth is, these plagues were a total disaster.
You mean kind of like my face?
Hey, you said it, not me. But I'm talking way worse. These plagues destroyed the Egyptians' water, their land, their houses, their food, everything. It was God's way of making things so miserable for the Egyptians that Pharaoh would finally have no choice but to let God's people go.
Hey, I have a question. Can I finally take this ridiculous makeup off?
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. I can't take you seriously looking like that. And by the way, who does your makeup? All right, that looks way better.
Thanks, Cory. You know, I've seen some pretty powerful things in my life, but can you imagine how powerful God must be to make it dark for 3 days? Or to turn water into blood? Or to send millions of frogs to cover everything?
Yeah, in fact, that reminds me of something about God. Did you know that God is omnipotent? I know, that's a pretty fancy word. So let me explain what it means. Omnipotent means that God is all powerful. In other words, nothing is too hard for God.
That's right. In today's story, God wanted his people to leave Egypt so they could worship and follow him. But Pharaoh tried to stop them, so God used his power to help his people.
Hey, that makes me wonder something. Do you think that God still uses his power to help us follow him?
Yeah, absolutely. We just need to plug into the right place. Let me show you what I mean. Take a look at this lamp. Why isn't it on right now?
Because it's not plugged in.
That's right, it's not plugged in. So it doesn't have any power running to it. We just need to decide where to plug it in. What do you think would happen if I tried to plug this lamp into itself?
Say what?
I know, it sounds crazy, but let's try it. You see, nothing happened.
Yeah, no surprise there.
No, not at all. But I have another idea. What if we tried to plug this lamp into another lamp? What do you think would happen?
That sounds as crazy as the first idea.
I know, it does, but you never know until you try. So let's try. Nope. Once again, nothing happened. Okay, one last try. What do you think will happen when I plug the lamp into this extension cord?
Now that's by far the best idea that you've had.
Yeah, let's find out. Ta-da! That's it. To get power to the lamp, you have to plug it into the right place. You see, we're kind of like this lamp. If we want to have God's power in our lives, we have to plug in to the right place. Now, some people might say, I'm going to get God's power from inside myself. But that's like plugging the lamp into itself. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And other people might say, I'm going to get God's power by hanging out with my friends. But that's like plugging the lamp into another lamp. It doesn't work.
That's right. If we want God's power in our lives, we have to plug into the power source. When we worship God or pray or read the Bible, it's like we're plugging into God. And when we plug into God, His power fills our lives and we shine bright, just like this lamp.
Yeah, when you're plugged into God, you have the power to overcome any problem and to do anything that God calls you to do. Nothing is too hard for God. In fact, that's what our memory verse for today says. It says, Lord and King, you have reached out your great and powerful arm. You have made the heavens and the earth. Nothing is too hard for you. Jeremiah 32:17.
Hey, you know what? That makes me think of a question. Is there a problem that you need God's power to overcome? What is it? Press pause.
And discuss. It's true. God has the power to do anything. He can even raise someone from the dead.
You're right. When Jesus died on the cross, God used His power to bring Him back to life. And now, because of that, anyone who believes in Jesus can be forgiven and can live with Him forever in heaven. God is all powerful, so you can go to Him for help.
So good and so true. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. We've had a blast hanging out with you.
Yeah, be sure to join us again next week. In the meantime,
Is this show always this weird?